Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. In this video, we'll look at the words deter and debtor, and we'll talk about how to pronounce them, how they're different from each other, and some details that will help you not only with these words, but other words in English as well. So when we have the word deter, our stress falls on the second syllable, ter. That means that the letters DE, rather than saying de like in debtor or death, they will have a reduced vowel. It sounds like ih. It's the same vowel sound we have in words like did and it, but even shorter and more reduced. Deter. You might even hear people use something a little bit more like a schwa, like deter. I think d is more common, but the most important piece is that my ter is long and it has the stressed long vowel, and my d is short with my reduced vowel. I often write the vowel this way so that you can understand that it's just the sound. I will have rewritten it here this way. This is just called a stressed and so it's long and tense, and I'm going to hold it a little longer, deter. Also notice that in deter, my T sounds the same as a T in a word like turn or take. It's an aspirated T, and it functions just like the T at the start of a word. So there should be a little puff of air, deter. That's because this syllable is stressed, so I say the T with the burst of air. Versus in debtor, I use what's called a flap T. There's no burst of air because in debtor, the stress falls on the first syllable, de. So now letters DE say the sound, like in red or dead, and our letters OR also say the sound. You can think of it, it's the exact same sound as it is here in deter, debtor. It's just here that it's going to be unstressed, so it's going to be shorter, more of a reduced vowel. So if you want to be very specific, you can use this symbol for this and this symbol for this This one is unstressed. In reality, it's basically the same sound, but this one you want to make it fast, debtor, and this one you want to hold it longer, deter. Also in debtor, the B is silent. I do have several videos about words like det, num, other words where B is silent if you want a little help for understanding that pattern. So you can think of it as just having just the T sound. And letters OR say That's very common at the ends of words. If we have OR and they're unstressed, they often say that sound. If it's difficult for you to put this flap T and the together, like in debtor, just think of it like a light D sound. Of course, I have a number of videos about flap T as well. I'm not doing a true D there. There's not a buildup of pressure or burst of air like but because we say T's and D's, especially D's, in the middle of words with flap sounds, often if you visualize it as a D, that helps you move away from something like deter. Because, of course, in deter, we need to really hear a difference between deter and debtor in terms of how you're saying those T sounds. Once you can say these words by themselves, don't forget to try practicing them in some short phrases. Because what you might find is that when you understand it, you can say the word by itself. You go to use it and you may still struggle. You may still forget which pieces of the word go where. And once you've used it and practiced it in phrases, it's more likely that you can use it correctly in conversation. So, for example, the bad news did not deter him. She wasn't deterred from her mission of making things better. The debtor paid off his debts. We have many debtors, homeowners who are debtors. Great. Okay, thanks so much for watching this portion of this video. I do want to cover a couple other words today. We're having a bit of an extended word of the day video today, just to give you an opportunity, to give me an opportunity to cover more of your requests. I have many requests to cover, a long list, and you have great suggestions, so I appreciate that the audience lets me know what you need help with. I want to look next at the words turtle versus total. So I have videos for both turtle and total if you want to go more in depth on either of these words by themselves. But what I want to point out here for these two words is that in turtle, we have, again, our stressed sound. That's in the stressed syllable. And so you'll see in the dictionary the either this symbol or this symbol, the stress marker for that first syllable, and then turtle. We use that flap T and syllabic L combination. So if I were to rewrite that, I would write it like turtle. Basically no vowel there because I'm moving directly from my flap T into my syllabic L, dull, just a light little touch with barely any vowel. If there were any vowel in there, it would be a little bit of a schwa sound, very short little reduced turtle. Versus in total, we have no R sound in this word. We still have the flap T and L combination, but instead of an we have an O diphthong. So again, you'll see maybe a little schwa there, or just going from the flap to the L. Think about this like total. So turtle and total. If you have difficulty with your R, then it might be hard for you to hear and make the difference between these two. Also, if you're having trouble here, it might be that your O in total is not enough of an O sound. You might be going a little more to an ah or an sound, and then you're not distinguishing these very, very well. So try with total. Try just saying toe by itself. Total. My toe is a total mess. I'm going to turn the turtle in the other direction. So anytime you have similar words where there's just one small difference, a vowel difference or a consonant difference, it can really help to pair those with other words like turn and turtle and toe and total, just because between turn and toe you might not have an issue, whereas with turtle and total you might because they're more similar. Okay. Great. Let's do a couple more words and then we'll wrap up this word of the day lesson. Next, I want to cover the word elite. So in elite, we have second syllable stress, and that means that our letter E typically is not going to say, we're not going to say elite here. We're going to say again that reduced I vowel, elite. And then we'll have a tense E in the second part of the word. So letter I says E, not as common. Usually letter I says I or says I. For example, in words with IE like kite, for example, the I will say its name because the silent E makes the I say I. This one doesn't follow any of those rules. It sounds like elite. Notice I am saying that T at the end, elite, but in connected speech, how I say the T at the end depends on what follows. So if I'm saying elite sports, I would use an unreleased T, elite sports, because the next word starts with a consonant sound. If I'm saying an elite athlete, then I might make a flap and link it to the next word. For example, she's a lead in her class, a lead in. I tend to use a T in elite for some reason. That's either that stop T or a true T, elite. Maybe just because it doesn't elide as easily as some other words might. But again, the way we pronounce T depends on what follows when the T comes at the end of the word, the letter T or the sound T. You can learn more about that in our Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com, where we go through every sound, how you say it in different words, different positions of the words, spelling and sounds, etc. That's a great way to build a strong foundation to pronounce any word you like confidently and easily in American English. And you can find it on our website, speechmodification.com. It's our basic Sounds of English course. Okay, so elite, turtle, total, and deter and debtor. Our last word I want to cover is live or live. So depending on how you're using this word, it has a different pronunciation. Unfortunately, we have a number of words in English that have the same spelling but different meaning. So to live, the verb, has the I sound, We live there, you live, it lives. I like using it lives as my matching guide because it helps me think of that I sound in live. And then we have also, for example, sometimes on my channel, I go live or a live broadcast. That's more like the word alive, which sounds like live. So when we have live, as in live TV, something that is airing live, we have the I diphthong. And this follows our rule from before that we were talking about with kite, where because we have an E at the end, letter I will say the I sound. So when we have a silent E at the end, it's very typical spelling pattern for the vowel before the E to say the same thing as the vowel name. I says I, O says O, A says A, etc. So in live, I rewrite that sometimes with IGH, like in light, just because it's a spelling that you can think of. You can picture it with AI if that's helpful for you. Just make sure that your I diphthong is long and a gliding vowel sound. So again, I live for the live broadcast. It lives, so it's alive. We'll be live on Saturday like we usually are here on the channel. Okay, so I will be continuing to cover your word of the day requests. You can leave comments and questions. Oftentimes I may already have a video with your word or your idea, but if I don't, I can add it to my list to cover in a future class. You can also attend our Saturday live question and answer classes. Type your questions in the chat and I'll answer them for you live. Or use the search tools on our channel to look to see if I already have a video covering your topic. Leave me a comment if you can't find it. I'll let you know and send you the link and help you find it because we do have thousands of videos now covering many, many words, pronunciation in English, of course, as well as our American accent training and fluent speaking playlists, our names playlist, medical words, etc. So hopefully we have what you need, and if not, we'd like to add it for you. Thanks so much for watching this video and for subscribing to the channel, liking, sharing, commenting. All of those things help the channel to grow, and I truly appreciate your support. Don't forget to check out the free and inexpensive online courses and resources on our website, speechmodification.com. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.